I've seen a few comments from people saying how much they wish that the Biden voters would admit that they were wrong now. Look, not all, but most of the people who watch my channel seem to be sensible, logical, reasonable people. So because you have sensible, logical, reasonable minds, you believe that now the facts are out. Now it's obvious that Biden is a complete incompetent, or, well, rather, the cabal of political manoeuvrers who edged him into office are incompetent. Oh, by the way, we don't seem to be hearing so much about those guys now, do we? I mean, when Trump was in office and you looked at the MSM, it was Pelosi, 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 Schumer, Pelosi, Pelosi, squad, take your pick there, Pelosi, Pelosi, Schumer, and so on. But now I'm hearing nothing at all from any of those guys about any of those guys. I suppose there might be more on the domestic front, but certainly none of it's strong enough or there's enough of it to filter over here in the UK. Anyway, it's become Biden. They're talking about Biden now. Whatever he's fronting is demonstrably incapable of organising even an orderly retreat, but it's all going to him. And so, to you, my regulars, my logical, intelligent regulars, it seems reasonable that all those people who voted for Biden would be, by now, rethinking their previous good opinion of him. They might be revisiting all those videos showing him jogging, and they might be considering that that was a setup, and the aviator glasses, and the famous little clip of him falling up the airplane steps that they didn't take any notice of at the time. They might be thinking about that a bit more now. They might be considering that their drooling admiration of the pictures of Uncle Joe and his dogs, showing what a great guy and animal lover he was, might have been a bit of a con, especially when they consider that the minute he got into the White House, the dogs disappeared. The excuse, by the way, being that they were unsettled by all the comings and goings in this official building, which sounds reasonable enough, but it was also a point that Trump made, but that was touted by the MSM as a character defect at the time. Not now, though. Of course, when it applies to Biden, it's different. Anyway, most of the viewers to this channel would have known from the start that each one of those hagiographic Biden selling points, each one was an advertising image and not a reality. And from some of the comments, I'm guessing that most of the viewers to this channel will be of a mind that this is the time when all those Biden voters will be starting to see reality. Their eyes will be open at last, you think. How could they not be? How could a reasonable, sensible, intelligent person not see what is directly in front of them? Well, folks, I have some bad news for you. They won't. Well, not for a long time. And I have more bad news for you guys. Elvis really is dead. You see, this is the deal. I think it was Jonathan Haidt, in fact, I'm pretty sure it was, who pointed out that the way to get people's loyalty, I mean deep down loyalty, is not to give them sweets or to give them money. Oh, sure, you can get people to do things for you if you pay them enough. But when the sweets run out or the money goes, you know, your bank account runs dry, those people go away and get their sweets and their money from somewhere else. No, if you want absolute, rock-solid loyalty in the face of the most incredible hardship and without you spending a single penny on them, or in any way dipping into your capital, what you do is expect from your followers complete sacrifice, hardship, and pain. You make your followers suffer. You make them lose members of their family one way or the other, you know, either by rejecting them or by having them, you know, killed in some awful situation. You make them endure hardships and dangers, and that way they'll be loyal to you for the rest of all eternity. Why? Because the leader has to be worthy of the sacrifices you make. Only a fool would suffer all that for the sake of a charlatan. And people don't like to be taken for fools, do they? That's how con men get away with the things they do, because people don't want to admit to themselves, but especially they don't want to admit to other people, that they've been taken for credulous idiots. So they pretend their sacrifices have been for something good, something pure, something worthy, something great. And of course, if anyone contradicts them, if anyone points out what gullible clots they've been, well, they double down. Because to admit otherwise would require a complete dismantling of everything they have stood for, worked for, been outraged by, and sacrificed for the past months or years or, even a whole lifetime. And that's why we're not going to get any instant admissions, chaps. On the bright side, there will be a drifting away. But, we saw those, I saw those pictures of videos of kids at some sort of a rally or a football game or somewhere like that, and they were chanting Biden. That was on a YouTube video. If anyone has actually seen it on an MSM broadcast, please let me know. I very much suspect that it's not being broadcast on that sort of a medium. Anyway, there will be a drifting off, though. That was the start of it, but it'll take a long time, and especially it'll take a long time who were the most committed. Obviously, those students weren't the most committed. The most committed ones were the ones who appeared on MSM trashing Trump and boosting Biden the whole time, because that's really embarrassing, isn't it? The Cuomos and, I forget the names, that stupid woman with the short black hair and, the one who said, "You're not having a terrible dream." I don't remember her name, but she is going to take forever to admit what a fool she is. Not has been, is. She will always be a fool. I remember once I was speaking to a kid. I was talking to a kid, and he was talking about some adult who'd said something really dumb, and the kid was trying to come to terms with it. And I said, "Look here, there are some people in your class that are really stupid, don't you?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, those people, they grow up and they get jobs." You've got to remember that. Okay, anyway, look, I've digressed. It might not be so obvious, and it might not give you that feeling of satisfaction you might get from saying, "I told you so." By the way, you must never, ever, ever say that to your ex-Biden voting friends, however much of a temptation it might be. You'll push them into a corner. The other night, I was actually in a social situation with somebody I'd had a really strong disagreement with about Biden and Trump. He was a great Biden supporter. And I didn't say, "Well, how do you feel now?" I was bursting to do that. But no, that wouldn't have been right. At least I don't think so. I think I'll be able to say that at some future time when he can distance himself enough for it to make a joke of it, but not just yet. Anyway, you'll hear all sorts of excuses from these people. "Oh, suddenly his age has caught up with him. He was all right then, but he's not all right now." You mustn't say that happened 10 years ago or more. They'll say, "He was fed the wrong information, poor fellow." Don't say that a good commander should be able to work out what the wrong and the right information is. "Oh, he was pushed into it by Trump's previous agreements." Don't say that someone who is really the president, who should be able to make up his own mind about such things. Don't say anything. Nod sagely and shut up. That way they have no one to push against. There's going to be more, more of this doubling down. Just be warned, at least for a time. The Taliban announced recently that they mopped up the last resistance in Panjshir province. I think I've got that right. It just occurred to me now. And of course, what do you expect from a militia that's equipped like the best of the American army, but without their morality? Oh, yeah, there's going to be plenty for your Biden supporting friends to double down against if you give them a chance. So don't give them the chance, that's all. And events will probably take care of the rest. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.